Welcome back to episode 15 of AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, Season 2. In case you missed the last episode, biggest takeaways, we finished 9-6-1 and we did miss playoffs with that record. Our offense was popping off and our defense actually probably had one of its worst years that we've had in the series. So just to give a quick team summary in case you missed the last episode, Holmberg has proven himself as a very valid starting quarterback now. Our running game, even though none of these running backs are that highly rated, I think the highest rated one's only like a 49. Our running game was going smoothly, and our passing game, it was okay. There's a big thing here that I'm going to touch on in a second, though. And then if you look down here, though, our defense did have some struggles, but I think we're on the up and up, and here is why. If we look here, so first thing to note, it seems like our rookie draft last year really did hit for us. So we got a new centerpiece inside linebacker, we got a new corner, they're both supposed to be very good, so that's great. The one big thing about our passing game that we need to make sure it kind of pops off this season. Roman here, who was, I think, 13th overall. Yep, 13th overall. He basically got no starting time, and he's actually angry about it. So hopefully we get him in early this season. He's supposed to be really good. Hopefully that guy is going to kind of become our Jalen, because Jalen is getting up there in age. He's now 31. He still put up 1,000 yards, and his bars are still good. But he's definitely had a bit of a injury past, and at least in this game, I've definitely had a number of wide receivers retire basically like around this exact age. So his contract technically is going to expire next season. I'm a little bit worried that we might lose him to retirement going into the season, but we'll see that shortly. The other big concern for me is our offensive line is overall getting pretty old. We still have a very good offensive line, especially since a couple injuries. We have our guard down here, who's a very good, but he's now 10 years in the league. So basically, if you look at center, left guard, left tackle, assuming that they're all sticking around this year, it's going to be 7 years, 11 years, and 9 years in the league. So we kind of have to figure out how to boost our offensive line a little bit. And then we need to find ourselves another offensive target, especially since Jalen's probably going to be retiring, at least within the next 2 or 3 seasons, if not sooner. I think overall, our defense throughout this entire series has basically remained very good. As always, if I can boost it in some way, I am still going to. I'm a big believer in having a good defense. So we'll see kind of how this all gets pieced together. Let's go ahead, hop into the season. Right. Looks like our strength coach has retired. I don't plan to make any changes here, but as always, we will review our options. All right, so it is worth noting here, our head coach is relatively far down on this list. He's only been our head coach 1 year. I think for a first year head coach going 9-6-1, I think is very decent. That being said, he is 12 points below this top guy. This top guy is a relatively high jump compared to the person below. And I'm not going to lie, those bars are really, really nice. Just take a quick look. So, I mean, he, as a head coach in Dallas, didn't do all that well. But his past 5 years basically have been very impressive. He took Indianapolis to the conference game 2 times, and then last year they missed the playoffs. That being said, I think that this is something that we have to do. I mean, his bars are really good. He focuses on secondary, which even though we have the one really young guy, I think that having a good person to boost, maybe late free agency, secondary picks and things like that could be really good for us. He's overall seeming to be a pretty good coach, and I think we have to make the swap here. So even though I said I wasn't planning to make any changes, we are going to make that change. It's interesting because it seems like all of these are relatively high up compared to what we currently have. This guy's definitely struggled a little bit more. When he was an offensive coordinator, they never got above 6 wins. Now, that could just be that the team itself wasn't promising, but that is definitely a little bit worrisome to me. Main reason I'm still considering just keeping this guy, even though he's further down on the list, is that it seemed like that offensive scheme really worked for us. We had, I think, 4th best rushing team and 13th best passing team. And we do still have the rookie now second year wide receiver who could use that player development boost. This guy focuses on wide receiver. And it's also a position that we're probably going to be looking at potentially getting another high draft pick on. So I am not going to swap that out. I think that's an important keep for us. As always, our defensive coordinator has been killing it and has been with us most of this series. So even though we had a down year defensively, I don't think that there's any reason to swap this. Did we lose I think we did. So our assistant coach was a very highly rated option for defensive coordinator, and it looks like another team did grab him there. So we will have to pick a new assistant coach. This guy was relatively highly rated on the options for offensive coordinator, and he's also wide receivers. So this might be a worthwhile pickup, just again to hopefully boost wide receiver availability for a little bit. The other option is we have a young tight end that's supposed to be decent but not great. Here he is. His receiving bars are pretty good. It would depend kind of what we have options for. There is an option that, especially since Jalen didn't retire, that maybe we should target a highly receiving rated tight end. But this is all kind of speculation right now. So I think here I'm just going to grab top on the board. Potential boost to running back. And then we need a strength coach. This guy is highly rated above the rest. So we'll roll with that. All right. Before we jump into free agency, we do have to look at our money situation. And once again, we don't have a lot to spend here. And we have a number of our top players that are going to need re-signing. So we should probably look at if there's anybody worth cutting. Holmberg, we're not cutting. This is our main defensive tackle. We're not cutting him. Jalen's on the final year of contract, so hopefully he'll re-sign for a team deal. This guy is also on final year of contract, so we're not going to touch him. Our starting center, what is his current deal? Okay, let me look at... We're not cutting him, so I'm not even sure why I'm looking at this right now. But we're still going to try to figure this out. So we're definitely not cutting him. Left guard, we're not cutting. Vince Collins, okay, let's say he's coming back healthy. Sebastian Slaughter, how has he done recently? When he played last season, he didn't do great. Well, he put up 70 tackles, basically. Okay. All right. We're probably paying him a little bit too much, but not planning to shake things up there, especially since we don't have anybody to really slot in for him. Donnie Pasco has been very solid for us. He had a little bit of a down year last year, but overall, not somebody I plan to get rid of. He's kind of a centerpiece of our defense. This tackle, he started all of last season for us, played very well. Yeah, so there's really nobody at the top of this list that I think is going to be worth cutting. That guy played well. So before we click to the next, let's make a quick sure that we don't have any crazy attitude problems. So Roman, we know that he'll get starting time, so I'm not worried about him being angry right now. Skip Planish. Okay. I don't see a reason to cut him. His bars are really good. He just didn't get much playing time. He might get more playing time this year. Center disgruntled, running back. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. Chemistry. Perfect. We have no chemistry problems basically right now. The only guy is this guy, but he is a free agent technically. So, sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and roll into our off season then. All right. Now, as I mentioned, there are a number of top players on the team that are going to need contract extensions. This center has been absolutely great for us, so I definitely don't want to lose him. This year, it's going to cost us about the same to keep him for a center. Okay, yeah, so he's asking for basically a top 5 contract here. He is definitely worth it. He's proven himself. So we'll go ahead and extend him. Further down on the list, we have Myron Willis here, who he's putting up good numbers, not great numbers. So let's see what he's asking for. See, defensive ends are always expensive. So he is basically asking for, give or take basically like a top 5 salary on the dot, give or take. I'm going to be honest, I don't feel like he's worth that with the stats he's putting up. So I'm going to sit on that one. If he ends up going off for, double-digit sacks or something this year, we can franchise him next year. But that's a guessing game right now. Jalen, let's see what he is willing to do here. So it actually really is not a team deal. He is coming off of a 1,000-yard season, so it's a little bit understandable. And actually, even though it's not a team deal in terms of like this year, if you look at wide receiver, he's not even asking to be a top 20. And I think he is clearly worth that for us. So we'll go ahead and extend him. And that will probably mean he retires with us, which is cool. He's been kind of a centerpiece of our team throughout this series. So happy about that. This guard will probably retire before his contract ends. So since we're potentially not extending Myron, we should probably look at extending these guys if they want to be. Ooh, that guy's actually giving us a really nice team deal. Am I missing something here? Hold up. He's not extending another year for us. I guess part of it's just that he's getting a little bit more bonus up front. That's a team deal for us, unless I'm missing something there. So we'll go ahead and extend him. We didn't technically extend him, we just restructured his deal. This guy, we can technically wait a year, but because he hasn't been doing too much, he'll extend for cheaper right now. So we will go ahead and extend him. That will be hopefully our kind of long-term solution if we're not re-signing Myron. How's Hunter Porter doing for us? Not great, but he's doing okay. He is asking for quite a bit of money here, though. And we're going to let him sit as well, actually. Because I'm trying not to completely decimate our money situation in the upcoming years. Resign the right guard. Okay, and then our long snapper is down at the bottom because he only basically has one bar, but he's an extremely good long snapper, so we'll keep him around. And then, let's take a quick look. How are these tackles? This right tackle actually seems like a really good player to bring in if possible. Perfect. And this guard actually looks pretty decent to bring back too. Perfect. All right, so our offensive line, again, only concern is that they're getting up in age, but they're basically locked in for this season. We're really locked in a lot of places here. I think first round, we need to try to target a key running back, wide receiver, or tight end. Again, just to boost up our offense. And then hopefully around 2 through 4, grab some players that we can develop over the next 2 or 3 seasons. And hopefully figure that out. All right. Let me just see here. There are technically a couple players on this list that we should probably look at. He hasn't been playing all that well, but he's he's decently rated. This guy we should extend. And how's our kicker been doing? He didn't kick all that much last season. He missed 3-point afters, but quick note on this. This game is based on the 33-yard point after. So, missing 3 is probably average. So I'm not gonna re-sign him, but I'm not gonna cut him or anything like that. Okay. I'm feeling okay with this. We don't have much money to mess with in terms of free agency, but I think as long as we nail draft picks here, we should be pretty decent. So, we know we're not going to be able to get a number of these top options just because of money situation, but it's always worth looking down the list here. This is a very good looking running back. We're not going to have the money to sign him, so I don't know why exactly I'm even bothering. I was about to say, why is this dude on here? He has repetitive concussion syndrome, so he's probably never going to play again, which sucks because look at those bars. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime player who just got the bad end of the deal, basically. That sucks. Yeah, I'm trying to think in terms of, we could go for this wide receiver. He's not great. He kind of fits in with a size that we already have. Let me just make 100% sure that's true. Jalen, 6'1", 210, 5'11". Yeah, so this guy basically fits in the same size and stuff as our rookie. So I probably won't try to nab him. Very, very deep. That's actually a really good quarterback. Not gonna lie. If we didn't have our guy and we were, needing a quarterback, I would absolutely pull this guy. But he's not going to want to bench for us. Let's see. Here's a tight end. Very decent rated tight end. That could solve part of our problem. So maybe we will go after this guy, Mercury Small. Let's take a quick look at Yeah, I mean, he almost put up 1,000-yard season. Granted, that was like 5 seasons ago now, but he's been very consistent as a target option. Let's look at how he's done in blocking. Yeah, I mean, for a tight end, those seem to be very valid numbers for me. So this could be an interesting option. Mercury Small. He's supposed to go in round 8. So I think we basically skip to him because we're not going to be able to afford most of these guys here at the top. And I don't feel like we specifically need any of those positions either. So let's get this rolling. We'll kind of skip along here to these later rounds. Let's just see. Jake Jacobs, that was the quarterback I had mentioned. He signed at Indianapolis for $200 million for 5 years, which isn't bad. That's a little bit cheaper than what we're paying our quarterback. So that is actually a pretty good deal for them. What's going on with this guy? This guy must just be asking for too much. He's gone back for back. Oh my gosh, look at it. He's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons straight of 100+ tackles, basically. That is actually crazy. And he's not even asking for that much. What am I missing here? What am I missing? He's not considered a red flag. Maybe his offer just dropped in this round, because normally if a player doesn't sign for multiple rounds, it means that they're starting to ask for less and less money because no team's biting. It's going to be a little bit hard on our money situation. Oh, wait. Extreme disappointment. Who is L. Hall? That might explain why other teams aren't. Oh, Luther Hall. He's our young guy, not introducing a problem with him right now. All right. Mercury Small. What's he asking for? He's asking for basically a top 15 to top 10 range in terms of tight end. I think that this is somebody that we do probably have to put an offer on. So, this is going to start messing with the money situation pretty hard here. Okay, maybe we can't put in an offer on him. I mean, the only real other way that we're going to be able to do this is we're going to need to cut someone that is making a decent amount on our team. So basically here up. Alexis Brady has done exceptionally well for us. How about this guy? Yep, he's done not fantastically, but I'm not going to take a starting corner off my team right now. Sebastian Burrows has not done much the past 2 seasons. Although just 1 season ago he got 6 sacks, so that's nothing to laugh at. And his pass defended percentages are really good for a linebacker. So, Don Pasco, we know what's going on with him. We don't want to cut either of those guys. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do anything with this. That sucks because I would love to get that tight end, but money situation is proving problematic. So let's go ahead and start looking at our draft here. So our first pick is pick 20. All right. There's a crazy amount of secondary players towards the top of this draft. Let's see. We're not going to have shot at first wide receiver. We're probably not going to get a top 3 running back, but it might be worth at least interviewing this guy just in case he falls. those bars are really nice, and he does provide some pass back opportunity. So we will, and he says they're very underrated. Okay. That is a guy that almost certainly will not fall to us, but if he does, that's our pick. Then we gotta go down here. This could be a very nice wide receiver for us. 6'4", 210. Bars look really nice. Considered very overrated, which is a little bit worrisome. But I don't know if I would pass him at 20. We'll see how that pans out. Other wide receiver down here. I don't know how much it plays into this game. Our young wide receiver is basically the exact same build as this guy. And they're both listed as SEs, which is a little bit worrisome to me. So I don't think I'm going to bother interviewing this guy. I don't know how much that matters in this game, but that's kind of my thought on it. This guy is a little bit bigger. He still fills that same general role, but let's go ahead and interview him. It's considered overrated. Okay. All right. I think that we're now getting a little bit far down for a first round pick. We're 20, so it's going to go down a little bit, but at this point, I feel like we would probably be reaching on players down in this section. So let's look at these two running backs. Ooh, I really like this running back. At least bar-wise. That's a pretty decent size. Combine. He doesn't have the best combine, but let's see. Considered overrated, but those bars are still really nice. That might be worth a flyer at 20. Yeah, I mean, his bars look way better than this guy. Admittedly, I think this guy could be a very good running back for us. He doesn't provide really any pass game, though. How's this guy doing at the combine? He's a little bit better at the combine. Not significantly better, but at least a little bit better. We'll go ahead and interview him. Also considered overrated. Okay. So I think if these two fall, then I'm going Walter Sampson. I think that's really all that we need to do for first round picks here. I mean, we'll see though. I'm not sure if it was last episode or the episode before. One of them, I interviewed 6 wide receivers and every single one went before our pick. So, it's definitely a little bit of a guessing game, but I'm just looking to see if there's really any other position that is worth looking at for that first round pick. I think that the thing that worries me a little bit is that all those guys were basically considered overrated a little bit, which is worrisome, but I feel like that's what we really need to do. I mean, if we have an injury in our secondary, it's going to be a little bit worrisome because the moment we lose one of these starters, we have this guy down here who's a 50, and then that's it, basically. So yeah, definitely our safeties are a little bit slim. So we could look at this second safety who's nothing to laugh at. He's also considered overrated, though. Okay. All right. And I think for making sure we do our due diligence here, I think that we do need to look at this guy is an interesting prospect. He's only 9% developed, really good combine numbers, but not worth a flyer there. I think we do have to interview, that's the top wide receiver. Is it this guy that we didn't interview? Yeah, so this is the guy that I was saying. He's the same basic build as our rookie, or now second year wide receiver. I don't know how much that matters. We'll interview him. Okay. All right. We now have enough options for the first round. So let's now try to find one or two kind of, second to fourth round picks that might need some development, but could blossom in like a year or two. So I think specifically I'm worried about kind of that left side of our line. I think the guard is the one that is the most concerning. Yeah, he's at 11 years. So let's see if we can find a left guard that we might be able to pull in a later round. Like this guy down here is only 19% developed. He mainly fits as a right guard. Now, that doesn't mean that he has to play right guard, but you can see down here, he's better at right guard right now than left guard. This guy's 7%. This is the kind of guy that I think could really benefit. So he's only 7% developed. He's 21. His run blocking right now is looking potentially ridiculous. Okay. Those bars are a little bit concerning, but if he has a year or two to develop, we might see those bars change a bit. And with him, with how far down he is, he's probably a solid third round pick. If depending on how many of these guards go, I think he's probably a third or fourth round pick. And the guy right below him, kind of similar situation and another decent option. So, okay, we have those two that we can look at. Tackles, again, I think is it our left tackle or our center? Yeah, our left tackle is also getting old. So if we can, once again, find somebody that's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get up to speed. What percentage developed is this guy? Is at 27. That's a little bit worrisome to me then. Although his strength score is ridiculous. With how many interviews we have left, going one of these guys might be an option in round 2. So like this guy, that actually looks like a pretty decent option. He's 21. Those bars are really nice. He'll be able to be back up for at least a season, hopefully. Hard to read. Okay, he could be a decent round 2, though. Okay. And then, should also look at centers. Okay. Someone like this, also 21. Man, if we're able to nab like these 3 in rounds like 2 through 4, let's interview this guy. This guy's considered overrated, though. Okay, we'll mark him as blue then. What about this guy? He's a maybe to interview. I don't see top center falling to the second round. Though he's not that high on this list. A team that needs a center, though, will probably pull him first round. Let's look at it this way. Interestingly, this way, this kicker is very highly rated. Ooh. I sometimes get baited into picking a special teams player. Like, look at that punter. Like, I would pull like a 6th round pick on this guy. If those bars are at all accurate. How good's our current punter? I know we had a good punter for a while. Okay, we don't have a punter on our team. Let's actually interview this guy. Oh my gosh. If he gets even close to this, he's 20. He's already 50% developed, basically. Those bars are ridiculous. I might even use like a 5th round pick on him. I don't know exactly where to anticipate him going. I don't see a team using anything above a 5th round pick on a punter, but I I don't know. I don't know how the game is coded for that. So, okay, let me just make a mental note here. So, first round pick, we're hoping for wide receiver or some kind of offensive weapon. Second round, we're probably going to have to go for this tackle, probably. Third round, we'll probably have to go for one of those guards. And then after that, we're going to have probably at least one round of... Do we have a third round pick, actually? Okay, we do. Okay. All right. I think I got this in my head. All right. Let's do it. Righties. All right. We'll do it on fast before our first pick here. Just to build up the suspense. All right. So Austin goes corner. I'm assuming that we're going to see at least 5 corners go before our pick based on how this draft is looking. Chicago picks up their quarterback of the future, hopefully. That center, or that safety, was relatively... I don't think he was even considered a top 10 player in this draft, so that is an interesting pick. So in the first 5 picks, we have 3. Okay, in the top 6 picks, we have 4 in the secondary. Another secondary player. Another secondary player. Wow. This is a super secondary heavy draft. There goes tackle. Running back. Outside linebacker. Tackle. So right now, not many offensive weapons have gone. I'm surprised that I was not anticipating that wide receiver to potentially still be there. That's going to be... I'm honestly hoping that top wide receiver goes, just so that it doesn't tempt me here. Carolina goes corner. New England goes corner. Los Angeles goes... We'll trade to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is going... Okay. Oh, interesting though. They picked up the wide receiver that was second on the board, the guy that was 6'4", and I was very interested in him. Ooh, I was totally anticipating them to go the top wide receiver in the draft. Okay, that throws a little bit of a curve into things here. It also looks like that tackle that I liked is going to go earlier than I was anticipating. He will probably be on by our second round pick. So realistically, I think that we probably have to go... What's this wide receiver look like? I'm really not a big fan of those bars, to be honest. So then that basically opens the question, is it... Okay, I think we actually have to go this running back. I forgot, this is the one that was very underrated. I think it is just what we have to do. I don't see reaching down for this guy. If this guy's other bars were above 50, I would totally do it, but they're not. He also is the one that fits the same build as what we already have. And then this running back. So, okay, let me try to talk through this. I'm assuming that one tackle is going to be gone in round 2. There is a chance that this running back falls to us, depending on what other teams see in him. Probably not. Okay, I'm arguing with myself here. Okay, we're going the running back. All right, that locks us in a new offensive weapon that is hopefully going to be good. Our running game last season was at top 5, and we didn't have a running back over a 50 rating. So that will hopefully boost our game quite a bit there. Right, going into... that tackle went only like 4 picks before us. All right. So now there's no player on this list that we're even close to looking at. And those guards that we have marked are not even close to going right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. Oh no, yeah, they're still like 10 guards away. So this kind of becomes a pick of opportunity for us. This could be an interesting pick. We're talking about trying to get young players for our offensive line. This is a guy that what's our current deal with our right tackle? I think I just did a re-sign on him. Oh no, he's only got 2 years left on contract. So this could be a prime example of a player that is given a year or two to really develop and mold, and then he's good to go. There's this right tackle, though I think I like this guy's bars more. Okay, I'm going to mark him as a serious contender. I think we have a ton of linebackers. Our linebacker situation is so stacked right now that I don't think we should even entertain getting another linebacker. All right, I'm going to guess that the game says that we need a thank you, Windows Security. I have a feeling that the game's going to say we need a nose tackle or a defensive tackle. And then I'm not sure what else it's going to say. So let's take a quick look at what the game says. Game says we need a defensive tackle, starting running back, starting corner. Okay. I mentioned corner earlier, and I know the game always suggests defensive tackles. We technically only have one. No, we have two in the top players list here. So basically the top half of our roster. So maybe we'll look at if there's any worthwhile nose tackle. So there is this guy. His dash score is horrible, but he does have a really good strength score and agility score. And I'm going to be honest, for a nose tackle, this actually isn't bad. Obviously, I would love for all three of these to be really high, but he has the pass strength for interior. I feel like that is more important. And his run defense is really high. And he's a punishing hitter. So that is an interesting option. We really don't need a defensive end right now, and I don't think that any of these guys will really provide value over what we already have. Here's the top corner. Not somebody that, stands out to me. And we have running backs. Is our running back already rated in here? He is, and he's really low. He's only expected to become a 47, which that's a little bit worrisome. Okay, so we might have flopped with him. Which means, do we go running back or running back? Let's say this is really the last running back of serious interest. I feel that's a little bit too much of a shot in the dark for me. There's next wide receiver. He's nothing to slouch at. I mean, he's got that route running, really good at avoiding drops, really good at getting downfield, and he has that courage bar. Darren Belichick, I mean. Okay. I think those are realistically our three best options. So, we now get to determine which one of those actually makes the most sense. Wide receiver who will probably, assuming that his score doesn't absolutely tank, he'll probably be our wide receiver 3. Although we have a decent wide receiver 3 down here. So I don't know how much that's really going to help us. Nose tackle, and then our potential future right tackle. yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're in kind of a win now mode. So I think playing this nose tackle might make the most sense. So that's what we're going for. All right. Let's go look at those guards. Looks like we can wait another round to pick one. So I feel like we're going to need to pull in a tight end. We can probably still find a decent one on this list. We'll start at the top. Doesn't stand out to me. This dude's strength score is absolutely off the charts. That's a really interesting player. I mean, that strength score is literally 5 above any other tight end that even did the combine this season. That looks like a pretty decent tight end right there. I think that it's going to be a little bit of a reach for me to go in this round, though. Really interesting. I don't know what to make of this guy. I mean, we did pick a running back. It doesn't look like he's going to be that great, which is a little bit of a downside, at least right now. A tight end with this high of blocking strength seems like a really good kind of utility player to me. This is going to be a shot in the dark, but I am going him. We'll see how that pans out. All right, where's those? All right, so if we wanted to nab one of these two guards, now is the time to do it. I think they're both kind of interesting in their own ways. This guy definitely has the run blocking bar, but everything else is below 50. This guy's basically down the line on 50. This guy over here is younger, though. He's a little bit smaller, though. I think I'm going to go this guy. He's a little bit lower developed. So hopefully we'll be able to develop him a little bit more. He is also slightly higher rated. So we'll go ahead and bring him on. All right, that other guard did go. That tight end also went off the board. So, oh, is that punter still there? What? A team actually went that punter before? Oh, he got picked like 8 picks before. Dang it. Dang it. Okay, I just need to check. He went, I don't think he's showing there yet. He went to Houston. I need to check how highly rated he ends up being. Let's see. Let's just go here. So, theoretically, this kicker looks absolutely incredible. No idea if he's going to pan out. If he falls the next round, I'll go him. But I'm not taking a shot in the dark on that guy with a 5th round pick. I think realistically with this pick, we need to try to find another player that we can potentially bring in to develop here. Someone like this. Now, I know we don't need a linebacker, but now we're at pick or round 5. He did really good at the combine. He's 22% developed. That looks really good. He's also 21. This guy could be the future Donnie Pasco for us because they are the same position. And I have a feeling Donnie Pasco, this is probably going to be his last season with us. So I think this is actually a very good pick. All right. Does the kicker fall? That's the question. The kicker did fall. I'll take the bait. If he ends up being a top kicker in the league, that's 100% worth it. And then here we are with final pick. And It's like whiz in. So our rookies are showing in here. So that kicker is apparently supposed to be very good. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. Left guard is supposed to become basically a 60. So happy with that. That nose tackle is only supposed to go at 53. That linebacker is supposed to become a 52. The tight end and the running back are both high 40s. Okay. So I'm not going to say that this is looking like it was a great draft, but so far, based on the numbers we see, I would say that I don't feel like we bombed any pick, which is better than I could be feeling. This corner actually looks promising. How do you do in the combine? Not too good. But I think that he is a player that we can definitely mold a little bit, especially with our new coach. All right. We probably have no money for late free agency, but we're going to go through the motions anyway here. 16 million. We could pull in one or two rookies that might have slipped. Ooh, look at this. This punter potentially slipped. He's looking to become a 93. This bar is going to drop significantly, but if he even gets close to that, I'll throw an extra $500,000 at him. Is there anything that we still need another tight end and we need another safety? That's the safety with the repetitive concussion. There are a number of safeties here. This guy did really, he did really well last year. He only played in 10 games, only had 25 tackles. We had 3 interceptions and a 84% pass defended rate. So that sounds like the exact kind of safety that I would love to have as our backup. And then we got to find ourselves our tight end. Here is an option. Not fantastic, but he's probably going to be our tight end 2 or 3. So, sure, I will do my best to make sure that we get him. All right. None of them signed yet. All right, we got the tight end and the safety, so that's good. And then we're really hoping for that punter. Come on. Okay, he signed with us. Sweet. And just to make 100% sure before we continue. Yep, that fills up at least everything that we need. So, and with how little money we have left, we're going to need some for mid-season signings and all that jazz. So I'm not going to risk pulling in another player at this point. Right. I don't know. I feel like this game always does the opposite of what I'm anticipating, but I feel like we are going into this season with a very realistic shot of playing a decent season. So before we hop in, did we suffer any injuries that are of note? Okay. Okay, it's just a sprained ankle, and he should be back. Well, we'll see if he ends up playing this week or not, but broken finger, he'll be back in a week. Alexis Brady, Bruce Sternum, he's going to be out a little bit. It's a good thing we pulled in that other guy. All right. Okay. I am actually feeling pretty decent right now about this. Let's... Real quick, I'm just trying to see where our... Alright, so the kicker and the punter both plummeted in terms of what they were potentially ranked as. Okay, actually, basically all of our options here plummeted. It's interesting that Artie Price is so low rated based on what he has, but I guess realistically, with these bars, he's basically like a goal line back, which, I kind of feel like if his whole recognition was a little bit higher, I would almost say that I could see this being like a Derrick Henry, but he's a relatively small guy, so that's a very interesting set of bars. Okay, so now that they've gotten their first round of actual ratings, not too happy with that draft. All right, let's get into this. Week 1, going up against Kansas City. We beat them 20-14. Now we've done week 1, let's take a quick look at what actually is our starting lineup. Okay, we could have a problem. We're still not starting that wide receiver, apparently. And he's considered livid. He did get 2 catches for 30 yards. So, okay, I think he's going to end up slotting in as a starter, especially with this guy being injured. Herniated disc. Okay, yeah. So he should slot in as our wide receiver. Okay. Let's keep this thing rolling. Going up against Carolina here. They beat the crap out of us. Tennessee. We beat them. Right, and then we'll simulate week 5 and then take a look at how things are looking. Going up against Albuquerque here. They beat us pretty badly. All right, so we're sitting at 2-2. So, is this guy really not getting starting time? Okay. Like I said, obviously if I go in and start setting lineups manually, right? I could give this guy more starting time. That's not personally how I prefer to play these games. I think that there's a certain level where it's like, okay, I brought in a staff. There's a staff draft. So I brought in a staff and I have to kind of believe that they are doing the right thing. So in order to keep with that and kind of keep this going as I have been, I'm not going to just go in and slot this guy in. What I might do, though, is I might end up cutting one of these guys, especially someone like this, who he's had a herniated disc, and he really hasn't done much for us. This guy was our first-round draft pick a couple of seasons ago, though. So we'll give it a couple more weeks, but that is definitely on the table. And then let's take a look at our team information, our team summary. Oh, the other interesting thing here is that it looks like Holmberg got injured or something. Why did we bring in Rubio to play? Rubio actually, he didn't do decently. He did okay when he came in. I'll leave it at that. Okay, and then what is the name of the rookie running back we drafted? Artie Price. Has he gotten any? Okay, he's gotten a little bit of touches, but he's right now the worst running back on our team. And then our passing game is going all over the place, which is really nice. And our defense seems to be struggling again. But again, as we've seen in previous episodes, I don't know why exactly, but for some reason, second half of the season, our defense kind of seems to come to and start doing what they're doing. So keep it rolling. Going up against Pittsburgh, they beat us. Here we are going up against Baltimore, and we beat them handily. All right, so we're sitting at 3-3. This is the final week before trade deadlines. We don't really have money to do much with here, but let's just take a quick look. pulled quadriceps muscle. That is not a good thing for our center to have. Our main tight end has a hyperextended elbow. That's not good. Where's Jalen? Jalen just is now no longer our starter, which is fair enough. The guy's 32, and he's still at 300 yards on the season, so nothing to slouch at. And this is giving Roman his starting time. So hopefully we see Roman here pick things up. I'll just see. Why is this guy deep thigh bruise? He'll be back. Torn thumb. He'll probably be back. Oh, look at that. The wide receiver I was talking about potentially cutting. Back surgery. All right. So keep it rolling. Week 8 going up against California. We beat them. They put up a lot of points on us, though. Here we're going up against Cincinnati, who is 6-1. So this is going to be a telling week. They held us to 3 points. So what just happened? Right now, not exactly sure. Our team seems to really be coming together. Like, Holmberg is playing well. Our running game is definitely a split back situation between 3 running backs, but it's coming together. The other thing to note here is that Price, it looks like he's balled out the past 2 games. And then our passing game's really spread across, which is good. Our defense is struggling a little bit. Let's take a quick look. Did we suffer any specific injuries? Okay, so our main corner looks like he might not be playing. Donnie Pasco got injured with a sprained neck, although he wasn't starting for us anyway. Alexis Brady. I think Alexis Brady going out is having a little bit more of a bigger impact than I think. I look at these stats sometimes between filming. This guy has been absolutely awesome for us. He's not the biggest tackler or anything like that, but his pass coverage is like, mid 80s every single time. So I think him being injured is causing some more problems than I was probably anticipating. And then we're also missing our key center, but it looks like he will probably be back. So we'll keep it running. I feel like sitting at 4-4, I feel like we're in a good spot. We don't have any. The only player that's on IR, basically, I don't think is a big piece of our team. So we'll see how the second half of the season goes. Going up against Kansas City again. Took the W there. Oh, geez. Going up against Las Vegas, who's 9-0. Let's see. We took the W. Let's go. All right. Going up against Austin here, who's 3-7. We took that W. Going up against Miami, we're at 7-4, and we're touchdown favorites here. They beat us 13-10. All right, we'll simulate one more week and then look. We're going up against Tampa Bay. We're both 7-5. Very important week for us to take a W. And we took a big L there. All right. Before we do the final 3 weeks of the season, Holmberg is dealing with a bruised sternum, which is not the best thing to be dealing with going into the end of the season here. Oh man. Where is Roman's knee tendonitis? Okay. All right. And then we haven't lost any other key players to IR. So We're just going to have to hope. I don't know. I'm assuming Holmberg is playing on that bruised sternum, but we don't really know that for sure. All right. Let's keep it moving. Here we're going up against California, who's also 7-6. They are favored by a field goal, and they did beat us. Going up against Atlanta. We beat them, so we're set at 8-7. And of course, final week of the season, we're going up against a 12-3 team. But before we do that, let's take a look at what we have potentially going here. So, we do have a shot at getting in to the playoffs still. I don't know if the game's going to do this, but as a reminder, this game is 12-team playoffs instead of the new 14. So with a 12-team playoff, Las Vegas has already clinched their first week bye, which means if this was, the real NFL, there is a decent shot Las Vegas is not going to play their starters. Don't know if that's going to be the case in this game. And yeah. In terms of our playoff probabilities, game says we only have an 8% chance to get in, which means we must be also hinging on another thing to happen here. Just look at this for a second. Okay, so us getting in must fall on, I don't know, I would need to do a little bit of math here. It must involve at least one or two of these other teams also losing. Pittsburgh, Miami, New Jersey, California, and us. Yeah. All right. So chances are we're not making playoffs, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Let's see what happens here against Las Vegas. Las Vegas beat us. That means we're almost certainly out. And our third season in a row of or at least I think this is our third season now, of just missing the playoffs. And it's interesting because it seems to be our second season of our defense being down. So I don't know, again, how the game kind of puts this all together. I don't know if that means that it's time for us to bring in a new defensive coordinator. Our defensive coordinator before the past, couple of seasons was very, very good for us. All right, Super Bowl, they're looking at Arizona versus Cincinnati. They're both 16-2, so two very good teams. Cincinnati takes it 20-17. All right, let's take a look at this team summary for a little bit here and see what we can kind of piece together. So, Devin Holmberg played a respectable season. I still think he's clearly path forward for us. I don't see a situation where we are not running Holmberg next season. Running back situation. Our running backs played very well, and through that committee, they played very well. Johnston, though, did fumble 7 times, which is no good. So we might look at cutting this guy, although his bars are pretty good. Maybe we'll see if we can trade him instead. But I can't have somebody fumbling 7 times. That's unacceptable. And he's disgruntled, so. In terms of our passing game, that one sophomore, second year wide receiver, he did get some start time and looking very promising. Obviously, this ball got spread around a lot this season. We didn't even have a single target with triple-digit targets. Normally, you have at least one. Like this guy last year had 165. So, it's good and a bad thing. Jalen, he was injured for part of the season, but he put up once again a very respectable line for us, especially as he's getting older. And then, what was going on with our defense? I think, let's look at it this way real quick. So this guy did not get to the quarterback much. This guy didn't get to the quarterback much. This guy did okay. Let's actually look at this a slightly different way. Luther Hall looks awesome for us. He put up 111 tackles. There's a decent shot that this guy made Pro Bowl. Although he didn't do anything really in the pass coverage. So we'll look at Pro Bowl stuff in a second here. Let's see real quick. I don't normally show this kind of stuff on the recording, but all right, so if we look at linemen, opposing linemen, sacks allowed. I think I'm doing this right. Hold on, let me just look at something. 32. Okay, wait. This is the same number, 54. Okay, it must just be the same on both sides. So in terms of sacks, we were in the bottom half. Opponent hurries. Opponent hurries were decently okay in. I guess I'm just trying to figure out why our defense is struggling a little bit right now, because if we look at our starting lineup, I don't see any clear reason that it should be struggling. We don't have the best cornerback 2 and 3, but I don't think that should be bringing us down as much as it seems to have. I wonder if it's just that we don't have... I mean, this guy's ratings are obviously high, but his overall production is not that great. I wonder if it's that we don't have a huge pass rushing defensive end right now. I don't know though. I feel like the past couple of episodes we've had a rougher draft than at the beginning of this series. And part of that is that the past couple of drafts we've been drafting between 12 and 24, which is really a hard place to draft because you're not going to get the exceptional talent in the top 10. It's a little bit of a guessing game in terms of what the other teams are specifically going to go. And then it's also... It just seems like the players that we're getting there are not, as good as you would expect. I think Artie Price, I think that his bars and, not bars, but his, estimates are going to rise next episode, especially since as a rookie, he put up 862 yards, 4 touchdowns, also put 235 through the air. So I think that he's going to end up rating a little bit higher. But, for the past couple of episodes, it's been, hey, we're going to try targeting these offensive targets. And it just really hasn't worked. This guy, he was undrafted. But what happened to... So this guy, as an example, he was first round 30th pick and just hasn't done well. I'll leave it at that. For a first round pick, he hasn't done well. And then this guy, he was a second round pick. He's also basically done next to nothing. Then we had this running back. He was a 5th rounder, so I'll let that one slip. Roman, I think that he's proven himself, and I think that he has a potential future. I don't think right now that he's looking like he's going to be like a Pro Bowl wide receiver. but he's at least not a complete waste. But he was also pick 13. Normally, he's not a top 10, but normally for a top 16 pick, you're hoping for a clear starter. And through 2 seasons, I don't think that he's proven that. He could definitely go on and have a couple of 1,000-yard seasons, but I'm not feeling too confident about it. Then we did the running back this episode, and this tight end in the third, who, again, this guy was mainly brought in as hopefully a blocking tight end, and didn't really play that role. So that, again, it could be a coaching staff situation. I don't know. It's a very, very interesting dynamic that we seem to have going right now. We went 8-8, meaning next season we're probably going to have draft pick like 22, which once again is going to be a little bit hard for, getting a clear starter probably at that pick. So yeah, I would love to know if anybody here listening, has any input in terms of what position or positions we should really target with our first round pick next season. I'm worried to keep throwing draft picks at these offensive weapons because I don't feel any of them have hit. And soon we're not going to have the offensive line that we have. So I feel like offensive line might be the next first pick in order. Maybe somebody in our secondary. I think our front 7 on defense, I don't anticipate problems with. But everywhere else, we're at that point where it's good, but it's problematic. So I don't know. We'll see. So before we close up the episode, I am going to look at Pro Bowl. Looking here, I think Hall really didn't do much of anything in terms of the pass side of things. So even though he went for 113 tackles, I'm not sure he's making it. Our running back was so by committee that I don't see any of them making it. The wide receiver situation was really so spread out that I don't see any of them making it. So realistically, we're probably looking at offensive line as the most likely to make Pro Bowl appearances here. I will say, and I said this earlier, I was like, Alexis Brady here. He was injured for part of the season. He only put up 33 tackles. He put up 3 interceptions and an 86% pass defended rate. This guy is extremely underrated and somebody that we need to make sure we keep around. Absolutely stellar pick in terms of, he was a 6th round pick a couple of seasons ago. All right, going back to this though, I think if anybody made Pro Bowl, it's a lineman. So down the list here, not a single person on our team made Pro Bowl this year. So we have things to work on. Oh, and look at that punter, I recognize the name, BJ Chapman, the punter that was like, you know what, maybe we'll go him like the 5th round. First league, first team punter. Holy bejeebers. Wait a second. This stat looks ridiculous. Let me just look at this real quick. How the heck am I going to look at this? Individual stats. I can't even do punters in here. Wait a second. Oh, I can do it this way. Okay, punters. Look at this. This dude, now granted, he did punt more, and he's on a team. How did Houston do? Houston. They went 8-8. So they're a decent team. Now, I have to preface this. He did punt 20 more times than anybody else. But he put up over 1,000 yards additional punt yardage than the next guy on the list. In terms of his average, yeah, he wasn't, top in average, but oh my gosh. Yeah, look at this. In terms of ones that he got in the 20, he had 10 more than the next person on the list. That is crazy. And looking at this, it's very clear that our punter is not the best. He was actually worst in average punt. Pretty horrible at net average as well. And pretty crap in terms of getting it inside the 20 for us. So that is something else that we'll keep an eye on. Also, our kicker didn't do all that well either. So special teams is another area that we seem to be, having some issues. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so mad right now that we did not get this guy, because look, he's looking like he's going to become 82. He doesn't have a single bar that's going to be, basically below 75. Dang it. But you know what? Hopefully we get a good player next season. So, thank you for sticking it out with me. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Till then, AyyScare out.